Hi all, I'm Amber, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be sharing with you what I've watched in the past week. This is more of a catch-up video because I have more than 1 week's worth of films here, and that has to do with the fact that I haven't been able to make videos in the past few weeks, ever since before January began. I don't know what was going on with my video editor. They kept saying I had network issues, although that couldn't be possible considering that my internet was working, and I feel like if you're having problems with your network, that must mean that you're having problems with your internet, and I didn't think that I was having any issues with that, considering the fact that I was able to get on the internet. So I don't know what that was all about, but I tried it again and it was working. So if you're seeing this, that means that it worked the second time around. Crossing my fingers because I would really love to be able to keep on making videos. That being said, let's just move on with what this video is about. I did say that this was a catch-up. I have 10 films to talk about. The first I watched on the very 1st of January. I actually went to the theaters to watch this one because I really didn't want to wait forever because I feel like this film was going to be in the theaters for a very long time. And that is Star Wars 7: The Force Awakens. All the hype and the excitement and all the wonderful things that people have said, I was a little bit worried that I would not like it as much or that I would be hugely disappointed. Now, I wasn't disappointed in the film, but I don't think it was as good as everybody is saying either. And I don't think that the hype actually affected my viewing pleasure. I just don't understand the very high praise. I don't think it was a blow me away kind of a film. I really liked the presentation with the special effects, the music, and the acting by Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher was spot on, and of course it's expected, especially by Harrison Ford, but the acting from a lot of the other characters felt very flat, very much like they were reading off a script, and that took me out of this film a lot of times. And I do feel like acting is very important to how you're going to enjoy a film, and there was times where I was taken out of it with some of the very bad acting that was there, and which is I find very surprising that nobody's talked about the acting, because like I said, there's just so many issues that I have with some of the acting that I was surprised that nobody mentions it, but it's there, and it was very bothersome to me because of the fact that there was times where it definitely felt like they were reading the lines. The story itself, I think, is a good beginning to a trilogy, and I have enjoyed the story, but the ending fell flat for me. There is the scene before the actual end of the film where I was sure it would end there, and I wanted it to end there because then there would definitely be a question mark around that, but then it keeps on going and it ends there, and I get it. It's predictable in the sense that you know from the very beginning where this film is going to go, and I know it had to go there, but it just didn't have the punch of a ending that you want, especially for a film that's going to continue on into another film. It just wasn't a strong ending for me, but I did enjoy it, and it gets 4 stars. The second film that I watched is Jupiter Ascending. This stars Channing Tatum and Mila Kunis. I have no clue how to describe this film because, well, I don't really feel like there's much of a story into this one, so let's just talk about my thoughts on this one. I think they focus way too much on the world building, the special effects, and because of that, they sacrificed the story. And the special effects, although I guess you could call them really good, they're so convoluted, and it really felt like they just tried to throw every special effect they could find in the book to throw at you on the screen, and it just made the film very chaotic and hard to follow. Not only that, because as I said, it sacrificed the story. There really wasn't much of a story at all because of all of that, and so it wasn't really enjoyable to watch at all. Also, it really affected the acting of Mila Kunis and Channing Tatum. They didn't have a lot to work with, I feel, and I don't really blame them for the poor acting that there was, the poor portrayal of these characters, because I don't feel like there was much character to work with. So it's just a lot of the creators' problems and lack of control and balance. So I gave Jupiter Ascending 1 star. It is the worst film I've watched so far this year. Next, I watched Inside Out. This is an animated film about a family that has to move and the emotions in the girl's head. I really enjoyed the fact that they kind of personified, created actual characters for these emotions, and the story was wonderfully done because through that format. I really enjoyed the animation itself. I really thought that the style, the coloring, everything was really wonderfully done. I think that what the film has to say can be great for the older audience and not just the younger audience, but I do feel like the younger audience is going to get a lot more out of it than the older audience, because it wasn't as spectacular, and it's not a film that I will watch anytime soon again, but it was really good. And so in the end I gave it 4 stars. I also tried to watch Catwoman. I did not finish this one. This stars Halle Berry, and her character winds up waking up one morning with cat-like powers, and she has to kind of figure out what happened and to get justice for the situation that happened to her. This film gave me such a headache. I got maybe a third of the way through before I gave up, because the acting, the story, the music was so overdone and in your face that it just, my brain couldn't take it. I really just didn't like anything about it. I gave it 1 star. I don't really feel like maybe I should have given it a rating because I didn't finish it, but because I did give it a good try, I'm gonna keep the 1 star rating. It really wasn't good, but it was not the worst film that I watched. Next we have McFarland USA, starring Kevin Costner. This is about a coach who I believe gets fired from his football coaching job, and he ends up having to take a job in McFarland, which is in the Central Valley of California, and it's more of a Mexican town, at least than it was. I don't know what it's like now. And so there's a bit of a cultural clash between him and this town. But then he has issues with the head coach of the football team and ends up taking on 7 kids to create a track team. These kind of true story, inspirational type films are one of my favorite types of films to watch, and this was spectacularly well done. It did not disappoint me in any way. I really loved Kevin Costner in this. He did such an amazing job with the role and bringing alive his character. There is one actor in this film that I really want to see more of, and that's the guy who plays Tommy. I haven't had a chance to actually look him up and see if he's played in any other things, which I will be doing. But yes, he is an actor that I'm definitely want to look out for more things from him, because I think he was an amazing actor in this film. He really added something to this film that I think that if they hadn't had him in, would have become a less powerful film for me. I really loved the messages that was there with the struggle, cultural differences, and these people who didn't feel like they were part of America, they still felt like they were immigrants, they were aliens, and how this coach helped in his own way to make them feel like they were part of this country. And just seeing him struggle with their culture and what they had to go through just to fight for an education. I absolutely enjoyed the story, and the way they handled it was wonderfully done. So overall, a great film that I would recommend to anybody who likes Kevin Costner or these kind of films. I gave it 5 stars. Then I watched Fantastic Four, which is a remake of the original film, I believe. I did not like that film as much as my dad did. I didn't think it was all that great. I was kind of hoping that with a remake that it would give it an oomph that would make me actually like it more. Sadly, it was worse than the other film that I didn't like. There was barely anything that happens until the last 10 minutes, and then wham, it's all there. But even when it's all there, it just fell flat and lackluster to me. I just felt like the story was too thin. there was no depth to it, and the acting wasn't all that good either by any of the people there. In the end, did not care for the story. I mean, the fact that I didn't like the original film makes me feel like it was expected, but I was expecting a little bit more better of a story than this, and I think that it was much more stronger in the other one, at least with the story. I didn't care for it, it wasn't my favorite thing, but I felt like it had a lot more of a stronger storyline, and they told the story better, and this one was really no story at all. And I kind of feel like they were trying to make this a first of a series, but it's like each film has to have its own story, and it really just lacked that. So I gave this 2 stars. Moving on, we have Mr. Holmes starring Ian McKellen. This is about Sherlock Holmes. He's retired, and he is up there, and he realizes that he needs to solve this one case before he can pass away, before he can feel like so that he can feel like he's put everything to rights. If you're going into this expecting a typical Sherlock Holmes case, fast-paced, mysterious, and all that, you're not going to get that. This is more of a character study of Sherlock Holmes retired, and I actually really liked that, seeing where he was mentally and emotionally, and the struggle that he's going through as he's trying to solve a case and figuring out what this case is really about. I thought it was really handled well. I love the progression of the story, and the acting by Ian McKellen was really wonderful. It's a bit slow, and I get that some people aren't going to enjoy this film because of the slow pace, but it is a wonderfully well done film, and I really enjoyed the style and the music and the way that it felt like almost like a dream in some scenes. So it kind of adds to that element of, can you really trust what Sherlock Holmes is saying at times, and I really just loved that. Well, in the end, I gave Mr. Holmes 3.5 stars. It's not a perfect film, and at times I did find my attention wandering, but I really did enjoy it. Then we have Selma. With this one, I'll put who plays Martin Luther King Jr. here for you all. This is the true story of Selma and the march that Martin Luther King Jr. led. This film was so very powerful. It made me cry several times. I really felt for the characters, Martin Luther King Jr. and his wife, and that says a lot for the actors and how they handled their roles. But the music and the presentation, everything was just so wonderfully done that it made the film even more powerful. The story came to life through the acting and the music and just the filming style, everything. What I really appreciated is that although I had known about Selma, this film gave aspects to the story that I didn't really know about, and it felt like it was adding something new to the story. So it really felt like I was hearing the story afresh. I also appreciated that they made Martin Luther King down to earth, human, and they didn't try to raise him up on a high pedestal, even though I'm sure that he was on a pedestal, and they kind of make that clear that people saw him high and they expected him to be almost perfect in some ways. And I really loved that he was human, he had his faults, and he had his worries and doubts, and you saw that, and I really appreciated that they brought that to the open. And I just absolutely fell for this film. I gave it 5 stars, 5 stars. It is one of my favorites so far this year. And again, this is a film I recommend to watch. It's a part of our history that we should never forget, and it should be a reminder where we do not want to go back to doing that kind of thing. I also picked up Woman in Gold, which was another film that found me teary-eyed. This film really riled my emotions up. The injustice that this woman had to went through, and then having to fight for something that actually belonged to her, and it was 100% proven that I belonged to her, and it made me so angry. It was not right. You know, the people who survived the Holocaust and that injustice of that war deserved some kind of, I don't know, what do you call it? They deserved it. They deserved to be apologized to, and, you know, given back a part of them is, I think, the least that they can do for what happened to them. And what Austria did, this was a film that really just riled up all my emotions. And that has a lot to say with how they handled the story, how they put the story out there. And the acting by Helen Mirren was amazing. I mean, I already knew that she was a great actress, but seeing her in this role really made it even more clear how much of a great actress she is. And overall, this film was really good, quite powerful, and like I said, it really brought out a lot of anger out of me towards the injustice that was there, not just for her, but for all the other families. In the end, I gave Woman in Gold 5 stars. The 10th and last film that I watched is A Walk in the Woods. It is about Bill Bryson, who's an author, and it's based on his book about his trek through the Appalachian Trail. This film, I felt, kind of stayed on the surface of the story. I feel like they could have made this film a bit longer. It was quite short for everything that they could have done with it. It was a little bit shorter than it could and should have been, because they could have gotten into a lot more deeper with certain things and aspects between Bill Bryson and his long lost friend that it just didn't feel like they went far enough with. But I really did enjoy the filming, and just seeing the Appalachian Trail was wonderful, and I enjoyed the chemistry and the way that these two actors played off each other throughout. I thought that was spectacular, and there was some very funny moments, especially with the bears. That was my favorite scene of all. So in the end, this film gets 3.5 stars. I would love to talk to you down below about any of these films, if you watched them and what you thought of them. Thank you all so much for watching, and keep smiling.